Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Koehler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Koehler.
Well, hi team. I'm Fitz Koehler, your incredibly bossy fitness pro and race announcer from fitzness.com. And welcome to the Fitzness Show. Today we're going behind the scenes from my vantage point of the Donna National Marathon to finish breast cancer. So hopefully you already heard the episode where it was me and my race director. We just talk about race generality, awesome stuff, and some favorites. But I think I got some juicy details that are easier to share when it's just me rambling on. So I'm going to do it because the experience is so freaking fun and the people are so flipping wonderful. It's such a good time. Plus there's some like inside baseball, but it's inside race announcing that I'd like to share. So before we get there, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to click like, subscribe wherever you listen to the Fitzness Show. That's way when I come on and I make happy noise, you get notification. They say, hey, Fitz is bossing you around. She's going to help you do better, be better. And you go, okay, boop, press play. So that's rule number one. Number two, if you haven't done so yet, geez, look at this. If you're watching on video, you can see my beautiful new book, You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity. I have so many people reaching out, showing me how much weight they've lost so far, sending before and after pictures. If you like to be the after version of yourself, that's right, the supercharged version, you're leaner, you're stronger, you're sexier, you're more confident, more successful, get the effing book. Hi. It's available at fitzness.com. If you order it from me, I sign them. I send it out with the fun little Fitzy sticker and so much love. You can also buy the book at Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Fine. But you should come through me. Trust me. It's better that way. Okay, let's get on with the show because I have so much to share. So again, this is race announcer behind the scene. This is my personal vantage point. But there's so much goodness, right? There's so much fun. And also coming up in I think it's 2 weeks now, the Publix Gasparilla Distance Classic. And that event is bananas. Bananas is probably the most wholesome word I can use. It's bananas and always oozing with stories and experiences and wildness because it is a wild running party in Tampa, Florida. And as you can imagine, Florida, right? There's all the Florida men and Florida women running around in pirate gear and then a whole bunch of other people from other places. So anyways, we'll get to that when we get to that. But right now we're talking about the Donna. So I think I started announcing this race at their first post-COVID event in 2022. And I'm proud to say I have revamped that finish line. It used to look like a regular finish line. Now it is, all the races. It's the most love-filled, energetic, passionate finish line on earth. I adore working for this organization. It's led by Amanda Napolitano. She's the executive director. The founder is Donna Deegan. She's now mayor of Jacksonville. She's a tiny little person with such a big, big impact. But Amanda's awesome. And it's so nice to work for nice women. Now, women, we're supposed to be all like, yay, women all the time. Women are the best. Women aren't all the best. Sometimes I get mean girls. There's so many mean girls in the running industry. And I just kind of try to mind my P's and Q's and move past them and continue doing what I do with excellence, show up early, stay late, be polite and serve to the best of my ability. But sometimes that's not good enough when the ladies are mean. But gosh, everybody at the Donna Foundation is so freaking kind. It is, I give a lot of love. I love loving on people, especially these breast cancer survivors and all the people who support them. But I feel equally loved. So I show up in Jacksonville 3 times a year knowing it's going to be a wonderful experience. And I'm so grateful for that. So know in advance that I'm surrounded by the best people on earth when I'm here. And I am just, I bask in it. So we had some changes this year. The Saturday events, our 5K, 1 mile Donna Dash, and the start of the Ultra used to be held at the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium, which was freaking awesome. The expo was also hosted there, but they're having major construction. They're renovating the stadium, which I hear is overdue. I think the stadium is quite nice, but what do I know, right? So they're doing construction, so we couldn't be there this year. So they moved the expo over to the brand new Hilton at Mayo Clinic. And Mayo Clinic, as you know, is a big medical institution, cancer care, and it's nice. Yeah. Understatement of the year. It's nice. The Hilton is also quite beautiful. So they housed the expo. My hotel room was in the Mayo Clinic Hilton. It was so nice, just convenient. And I've stayed there once before. And I'm looking forward to going back whenever I go back. It's a great hotel. If you're going to Jacksonville and you don't need to stay right on the beach, this one's a fantastic choice. But I pull up, and the first person to greet me is Babs. Do you know who Babs is? Well, you're missing out because Babs, aka Barbara DiGirolamo, she is like the bestie from outer space. She's so great. I'm going to tell you how I met Babs because I think it's a wonderful story. So when I came to the Donna in 2022, there was in the evening they had some sort of like hang out with each other. There's an ambassador group, the D Squad. They were having a hangout at a brewery, and of course I went because why not go to the brewery? So I'm meeting as many people as possible, being the new girl at the event, and I come across Babs. And so Babs and I we hit it off smashingly right away. She's sweet, she's fun, she's easy, she's smart, all those things. So we start chatting, blah blah blah, and she sees a little bracelet on my wrist, and she says, "Oh." Or maybe she said she lives in Boston. I said, "Oh, I just ran the Boston Marathon, which was a few months prior." She goes, "Really? Oh, cool." She said, "I volunteer there every year." I'm like, that's awesome. And then she says she volunteers at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. I said, "Well, that's cool." And so I started telling her how I got looped into the Boston Marathon with Vince Varallo, who owns the Boston Buddy Running Group. She goes, "I know Vince." And then she says, "I put the medal on Vince. I gave Vince his medal." And I said, "Oh, wow. Well, we were together, but I think the person who gave me my medal was like an older, heavyset woman with light hair, maybe gray, maybe blonde." It's hard. You cross the finish line of a marathon, you're kind of loopy as it is, right? So we're talking about it. I go, "Well, let me look. I have photos of me being medaled." And so I start going through the photos. All of a sudden I look, it's not an older blonde woman. It is Babs. It is very clearly Babs. And there's a whole series of about 10 pictures of her putting the medal on me. And we just, at that point, it was like girl fun. And we were so happy. And we are best friends for life. I have spent so much time with Babs since then at various races all over the country. She'll show up if I'm there. And I'm very blessed to be in places where she's already running. And it's just, she drives me around and we go out to lunch and we hang out. I just love her endlessly. So it's nice to make that connection. Also, after that, I tried very hard to be the person to medal her. I've medaled Babs a whole bunch over the years just because I owe her one or 100. But yeah, love her. So I was greeted by Babs. I go in the hotel, Babs is there. Hooray. That's all I need to know. So we hung out. We had funsies at the expo. I was also doing book signings this week. So she helped me get big wagon full of my books, not only You Supercharged with the Cancer Comeback series, and we set it up. And Babs is just, she's a helper. She pitches in. She was pitching in for the Donna Foundation, setting up their booth, and she helped me with mine. And then I got invited to the dinner. So there's this great girls' dinner. There was maybe about 8 of us out that night, but of course, Babs drove me because she's the best. She's so generous and kind. But Mama Sama's, if you're ever in Jacksonville, holy hell, this is an Italian restaurant. Mwah, I don't even know why Italians do that, but I'm doing the kissing thing in a terrible Italian accent. But it was delicioso. That's right. It was so freaking good. You got to try it. They have these. Don't listen to me right now. I'm going to recommend a very unhealthy food item, but it was that good that this will be your sometimes food, right? This will be your indulgence wrapped inside your caloric budget. But they're ricotta balls, breaded and dipped in Alfredo sauce. So just do what you want with that information. It was freaking extraordinary. But me, Babs, the executive director, Amanda, her daughter, Joan Benoit Samuelson. So I'm going to tell you about Joan if you don't know Joan. In 1984, the women's marathon was added to the Olympic Games. So dudes could run the marathon before, but the Olympics said, no, not you gals. And finally in 84, they said, okay, you're in. And those games were held in Los Angeles. and an American won the gold. That's right. Joan Benoit Samuelson won that gold medal, the very first ever. And then she won a whole bunch of other of the majors, a big event. She's an incredible runner, but also just such a lovely, fun, sweet, smart, interesting person. And so she's an icon in this sport. She's the founder of the Beach to Beacon race in Maine, and she's just great. She shows up at a lot of events and gets people excited about running, and passes on some golden advice. And she's turned into a wonderful friend. I only get to see her traditionally once a year, but it's just nice to spend quality time with someone like that. She's a great girl. She's fun, and we hit it off, and she really likes my energy. So ex other than someone who might be annoyed by my energy, Joan is very appreciative of the volume at which I operate, and she's really fun too. It's cute. She comes across as kind of mild, but there's a tiger in there. There's a total tiger in Joan, and I like seeing it come out. We had a lot of fun this weekend. But anyway, girls' dinner that night. Andy, our ambassador, gosh, Lindsay, it was a bunch of girls, and everybody had fun, and that's what you need to know. That was the kickoff to my weekend. Fun girls' night. Also, hear this. Your beer drinking Irish gal, that was the second night in a month I've had wine. Normally, if I'm gonna have anything, I'll have a 100-calorie low light beer and get on with it. But I had wine. I don't know what's happening to me. Don't make any declarations about who I am right now, but note that there was another glass of wine involved. So anyways, that was big fun. Got a great night's sleep the next morning. Joan and I took off. We left our Mayo Clinic Hilton and we went over to the Shakeout Run starting at the Common Grounds coffee shop in Neptune Beach. I mean, the whole atmosphere there is so great. They have all these wonderful little locations for all the stuff. Common Grounds was a coffee area with a big atrium courtyard for socialization. So they actually contract me to host the Shakeout Run. It's not just some random, y'all go out and have fun doing a mile or 3. They bring me in and I say the words and then I yell go. And ideally, when I yell go, people leave and go. They do walk or run 1 to 3 miles, but just a nice group of people, a lot of the ambassadors to come out, which is really fun. And then the Neptune Beach Run Club, which I think has over 200 and something members. I say the great majority of them were there. They had left for a run before our shakeout started, and then they all convened in the courtyard. And it was just great. If you're planning on running this race weekend, know that next year is the 20th anniversary, and there will be hoopla. There is already hoopla built in. This is what I'm trying to tell you, is there's already so much hoopla built in to this race. Can you imagine what happens when it's the 20th? I've been trying to imagine, but I probably couldn't come up with all the cool stuff Amanda and her crew have up their sleeve. But yeah, it was awesome. That shakeout was sponsored by Alter Ego Running, which produces these gorgeous hats. They've got running hats, and then they have baseball style fits, and they've got the trucker hats. I left with 2 Donna Marathon hats, which are adorable. One's yellow, one's pink, and I will wear them a lot. But I'm so sad because there was a USA hat that I really wanted, and they didn't have the trucker style of that hat. And Bruce was going to bring it, and then he didn't because we were all over the place, and now I have to get the hat. Also, I think that I need a bigger selection of American hats. If anyone sees an American trucker hat, send it my way. I need more. And then they're really useful if I'm going to do the podcast and my hair looks like garbage. But I do just like having red, white, blue, camo, whatever American hats. I love being American. I don't really understand the people who don't love being American. That's a sidebar to this race weekend conversation. But yes, trucker hats with USA or the flag, or I don't know, maybe a screeching bald eagle would be cool. Anything that reflects this incredible nation of ours works fine by me. Anyways, so this shakeout had a sponsor, which was phenomenal. Now, we were there for an hour or so. I put Joni back in my car and we start driving to the Hilton. What she doesn't know is while driving down the street, some car kind of tries to sideswipe us. I move a little bit and I'm able to avoid it, but I was thinking in my mind, golly, how lucky am I that they did not crash into me. On Joni's side, I would be banished from the running industry if something happened to her on my watch. You know what I was saying? I was like, woo, grateful not to have been in a car accident because nobody wants that, but also not to have a legend injured in my vehicle at the time. That would have been big, bad news for me. So, anyways, we leave there and we go back to the hotel. Now the expo is just getting kicked off, and I've got a place to be. Where do I have to be? I have 2 book signings that day. So I go to my little booth, and what a wonderful opportunity. I don't sit there all day. I just can't. I'm not booth worthy. I can't handle that stuff. But if you put me in a booth for an hour at a time and then lots of people show up, I think it's wonderful, because one of the downsides for me on race weekends is my limited access to you all. Sometimes like Clint Collins. Clint was on my show a couple years ago. He got super dehydrated. He came through the finish line gray. It was very dramatic. And so I love Clint. I want to see Clint, but I only see him at the finish line now. Usually I'm in the middle of a cheering for a breast cancer survivor, and then he comes running by and he says, "Look, my cheeks are pink." And that's cool. But when someone approaches me at the expo, when I'm doing the meet and greets or book signings, and I get to actually talk to you, see how you're doing, get to know you. I meet so many new people, which is fantastic, because you're all not just faceless runners, right? You're someone with a story and a reason for being there. And not only as your race announcer, but as a fitness pro. I love hearing these stories. I love when you come and tell me you've lost 50 pounds or you got your knee replaced and you're doing your first race back. I mean, whatever it is, I enjoy those connections so much. And yeah, I got to do a ton of that. I had 3 different scheduled book signings this weekend, and it just so many people came by, and I met a bunch. And obviously I sold and signed the books, which was great too. I love, you know what? Selling stuff is great. Maybe you make a shirt and the shirt's pretty and someone buys your shirt and you go, yeah, they don't look great in that shirt. But when someone buys my book, I know that if they read it, they're going to start doing better and being better, and nothing is more exciting. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things, right? But I get really pumped seeing someone walk off with my book, and I look and I think, I can't wait to hear from them in a month. I can't wait to hear from them in 6 months after they've read the book and they're implementing the tactics, the knowledge they gained. It's really cool, really cool. And we will be right back. My brand new book, You Supercharge, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity, is out right now and has something for everybody. Ladies, chapter Full Throttle Femininity is dedicated to all the things you think you can't control, including menopause, weight loss, maintaining muscle mass, building bone density, and earning yourself a JJ of steel. Guys, chapter Man Mode was written just for you. You'll learn how to combat menopause, tune up your ticker, banish a beer belly for good, maximize your muscles, and earn the most powerful pecker on the planet. From the ground on up, from the inside and out, let's supercharge your body and mind and make you unstoppable. Order signed copies of You Supercharged at fitzness.com in the United States, Amazon, everywhere else. We're back. So just a ton of love, a ton of new friends. There was a Jacksonville TV news anchor, Eden Kendall. She's so wonderful. Oh my gosh, she's just the most adorable human. She came up, she said, I'm the biggest fan. Is it okay if I fangirl? And so I think Eden and I are besties, but I'm going to go guest on several of her shows moving forward, which, you know, it's nice if someone's excited about the work that I do, and then we get to work together is a real win. I had a bunch of Gators come by, Gator sorority girls. One of the girls that is if you're Greek, you know what this means, but it's like the grand little sister of my daughter. Ginger was a Pi Phi. So a bunch of UF Pi Phis came by, UF KDs. One of the dads, Brian, I shit you not, looks exactly like Bradley Cooper. So everybody has suspected that Bradley Cooper has had some sort of surgery, plastics on his eye. I don't know if that's true. He definitely looks different to me. And I think he looked hotter a year ago before whatever situation arose on his face. But this dad, Brian, looks like the OG Bradley Cooper. And he walks up with that Bradley Cooper face and those piercing Bradley Cooper eyes. And I think, how about that? Fake Bradley Cooper. I think maybe Bradley Cooper is now the fake Brian, because Brian is hunkier than Bradley, because I don't think Brian has messed with his face. So anyways, lots of interesting, exciting people. And then so many people who have beaten cancer. That's a real reward. Imagine people coming up to you and saying, hey, 10 years cancer free. Hey, I'm 5 years cancer free. I'm however many. It's just it's wonderful after wonderful after wonderful. So book signing, yay, love that. A lot of great photos with new friends. And thank you for those of you who take the photos of you or me and us with our book. And then you share it on social media because that's really simple marketing for me. It's the guerrilla marketing that goes a long way. Okay, so after book signing, I had another great opportunity, which I normally get with the Donnas. I was hosting a panel discussion. So they had a separate room for speakers. Many of our speakers were oncologists and cancer researchers. And then there's me. And I was hosting a discussion for several folks who have had breast cancer. Lindsay Hine and Kira, I think it's Kira Knight, but I could be wrong. Anyways, these two women, Lindsay has actually not had breast cancer, but she had elective surgeries because she's BRCA positive. So that's an interesting story. And then Kira just finished breast cancer care a while back. But you know what's interesting is sometimes people get a group of cancer survivors get together and start chatting. And it's just about the misery, right? Like, let me tell you my worst problem. Oh, I was sicker. I was hurt. I was this. It was gore, and awful. And there is a time to have those conversations, right? But I just thought, no, we have a big audience of people that have shown up to be lifted up here at the Donna this weekend. And, how do we get them all to do better and be better, right? So I tried to take a positive spin on our conversation, and my questions were steered towards lessons learned and the weird stuff and the funny stuff. And I think it turned out great. Lindsay and Kira had so many wonderful things to say. I contributed. And when we were done, so many people came up and said, wow, that was so much fun. And I have a better attitude now. And, we had, I think they were record lows. I can't imagine Jacksonville having colder temps, but the temps were brutal, especially on Sunday. It was a cold, cold weekend, high winds. There was a lot of people talking about failing, not showing up for their marathon or half marathon because it was too cold. And so I kept trying to lean in with, hey, yeah, it will be cold. However, so much easier compared to cancer, right? We're here for a cancer cause. Wouldn't it have been nice? I mean, gosh, with all my cancer care, if I could trade the side effects of chemo or surgery or whatever for a run in the cold, I would have gladly done it. So we were able to convince some people in that room that they should show up, those that were considering bailing. The other great messages of the weekend were I told everybody to wear everything, just go home, put on everything you own. Also, go to Goodwill, buy a bunch of junk clothes that you're happy to get rid of, that you don't care about, then and bundle up in those things. And then I steered everyone to buy hot hands, the little pouches where you open them up and they connect with oxygen and then they heat up and you can shove them everywhere. So a lot of people took that advice. Look at me, I'm patting myself on the shoulder. It's just good advice. Maybe you don't know about Goodwill. Maybe you don't know about hot hands, but I think hot hands got a big spike in business this past weekend. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you convince people do it and then prepare properly, wear all the clothes, use the hot hands and just let's make it happen. Right. So that was a really fun ending to my day. Then had to race back to my room. And I do actually like it when things go back up to each other. So there's not a 4-hour window of doing nothing before the next event, right? There was none of that. Donna weekend was 0 to 60 and then it stayed at 60. It probably stayed at 85 until we were done. But that night they have a party it's like a trendy Asian fusion restaurant. It's upstairs, downstairs. It's the board members, the sponsors, the ambassadors. There's there's 2 employees. That's Amanda and Claire. And then there's me. I think I'm the other employee, but it was wonderful. They have this every year and people dress nice and it's sushi and veggies. It's a great spread. You can have cocktails if you want. And it's just a nice chance to hang out with people. Mind you, freaking freezing. You know what's not cool is putting on a dress and heels and having your legs out. Like I wouldn't wear pantyhose pretty much if you paid me. Maybe if I were a performer, maybe if I were on a stage doing Taylor Swift type thing, I would wear pantyhose if I were her. But no, I'm not ever wearing them again as Fitz Koehler. But I kind of wish I was because it was mighty cold and mighty breezy. And, you just got to suffer through that. I don't know how Northern people do it, although I'm guessing Northern people know how to dress, right? They have clothing, which requires stockings and sweaters. I don't have any of that stuff. So there was a bunch of us that just kind of were cold and that was that was that. But the party was fantastic. Of note, I grabbed some sushi with Jason Rue. We love Jason. Jason's one of my hotties from the Hottie Body Fitzness Challenge. Jason's lost over 200 pounds. He ran the 5K Saturday, but we were hanging out at the party and we joined a cocktail table with a couple. It was Ted and Susan. And I said, so, what are you doing here? And Ted said, well, I work with IQ Fiber. And if you're not familiar, it's what kind of fiber optic? It's not regular cable, regular Wi-Fi. I guess it's fiber optics. I don't know. I'm sounding like a real dummy now. But anyways, IQ Fiber, which I just changed to last year. So he mentions he works with them, and I said, "Oh my God, I love it! I've Dome's Cox cable, and IQ Fiber is so much better, and my service is great, and it's fast. And after you dug up my yard, and my yard no longer looks like it's got coffins and dead bodies in it. It's so great." And then it came to find out he's the CEO of IQ Fiber. So it's nice when someone gushes about your product or service, even when they don't know who you are. So I was happy to share that love, that genuine enthusiasm for his service. And what a lovely man. Ted Shemps, I believe. Ted and his wife, Susan. So nice. But we had a great time. Again, Joan was out in full force. Edith Perez, Dr. Edith Perez, she's an oncologist, but she's also a leading researcher. And her work has saved so many cancer patients of all sorts. I believe it's bladder, lung, and breast she's focused on, but a real brilliant woman who's one of the founding members of the Donna Marathon, Donna Foundation. She runs it every year. She's a tiny little thing. Again, there's kind of a theme there. I'm probably some sort of giant. I'm 5'5", and I do believe Donna and Amanda and Edith and Joan, all of them maybe 5 foot max for either. I think perhaps Amanda might hit 5'2", but there's a trend there. If you are a super short, powerful woman, the Donna Foundation is for you. But that was a great night. And then the next morning, we had our first official race. We had the kickoff of the Donna Ultra, which is a 110 miler. There's 17 people took on that task, ran over 80 something miles on Saturday. And the game plan was to wake up Sunday and do the full marathon. So that's always very interesting to start them off. We were in good shape Saturday morning. I think the temps were in the 40s or so, which is cold, but it's not the type of fighter bidding cold we were in for the next day. So I think we all kind of enjoyed Saturday's temperature. The vibes were big and energy was high. And I love the 5K because there's not a lot of stress involved. People come out and they're a lot more relaxed than they are for a full marathon. So we had an enormous amount of people and then an enormous amount of breast cancer survivors in the group, including men. And the thing that I do is I am a survivor seeking missile, and I run and I find the men and women wearing the survivor bibs, sometimes wearing other things, which helps me out a lot. But then I introduce them to the crowd and we celebrate them individually. It might be, here's Jim Keegan. He's 13 years cancer free, and everybody goes crazy for Jim. And that's a lot of fun. And I genuinely just am so excited to meet each of these men and women and love them the way they should be. I've been through it. I know how hard it is. And, I don't think life on the other side has been easy for me. I think I've just been very successful putting the pieces back together of my body, of my mind, keeping my career going. No, not everybody has had that. And of course, I've had so much support from my family and then from y'all. But I know not everybody gets all of that love and support. And maybe not everybody has successfully put those pieces back together, right? So to take my opportunity to just pour some love on each of them and congratulate them and then have the whole crowd cheer for them is a great opportunity, right? It's one I will never pass up on. So we're all happy, fun, healthy vibes, happy vibes, all success. Survive this many years. And then the sweet woman, Jo, I can't remember her last name, but she grabbed me. Boy, she approached, she looked so beautiful, raven hair and gorgeous skin and just healthy and just a pretty healthy runner girl. And she came up and she instantly broke down in my arms and she said, I'm terminal. And what did she say? Like the doctor's given her a few months to live. And I try not to be broken, right? I have a job to do. And my job is to host these thousands of people and keep the energy high. But At that point, I just felt like we were in a tunnel alone and we just hugged there. I think we hugged for like 5 minutes. And anyone who passed by, so be it, because Joe deserved my time. She deserved my attention. And I certainly wasn't going to break the hug, right? It just fucking sucks, you know? Just, I'm sorry. Sorry if you got your kids in the car and you heard the F bomb, but like, what is a better word for any of that, right? And so, just trying not to fall apart, crying with her because I have a job to do, but wanting to, and trying to find words. So it's interesting. I meet so many people with cancer, all different types of cancer, and some, where they come like I did. My doctor said, "Hey, we have a cure for you," and I tried to believe that. Not everybody's so fortunate, right? And so I love giving encouragement. I refuse to lie in my encouragement, so I don't. I just don't lie. And so I couldn't tell her, "You're going to be fine. Don't listen to them." I couldn't do that. But I also feel like there genuinely is hope, right? Miracles happen, and the scientists are constantly working on new, innovative, more humane, more effective cures. And so I don't remember exactly what I said, but I told everybody about her, and I turned the music down and I told everybody about her. I feel like she deserved that, right? She deserved that acknowledgement of where she was and what she was going through. And this is the reality, right? There was a woman, Erin Petz, who she ran the booby trap last year, which is 5K and full, or maybe she did the half, doesn't matter. Her husband pushed her in a chair. Erin was a talented runner who had a big following and a bunch of friends, and she had breast cancer, and she died 6 weeks later after the Donna Marathon. And so you can kind of see it coming. Sometimes, I mean, I've been hosting races for cancer for a very long time. My original series was an ovarian cancer race in Michigan and Ann Arbor. And every year we would have runners or athletes who were dying. And I knew they were dying when I met them. And it was, let's make this moment celebratory for them, their families. Gosh, I mean, sometimes they'd come walking across the finish line or they'd be pushed across the finish line. These women were gray. Their hair was gone. They looked like they were dying. And then they had 20, 40 people with them, all wearing the matching shirts, but they were somber. It was just a somber kind of death parade. Oh, and just agony for me. And it's not about me. Like, who freaking cares how I feel when these people are going through actual death and dying from cancer, right? So, my role is to celebrate them, love on them, and then give them their moment, back away, slide into the background. Thank God for sunglasses that cover my stupid crying face, but there's been a lot of that. But with Joe, I just thought she deserves this moment. She deserves the truth, and people need to hear it. I think, is it preaching to the choir at the Donna Marathon? I think people know the realities of this awful disease, but to see it, to look at Joe, just see gorgeous and vibrance and health. It's hard to wrap your head around the fact that in, I don't know, 6 months, as the doctors say, she might not be here. I mean, it's just crazy. So I told Joe's tale as it was. And then I told her I believe she'd be with us next year. And I actually feel like she will be. I hope she will be, but I believe that. I believe she will be. So, Joe, if you're listening, you've been heard. I believe you, but I also believe the voice inside my head that says you'll be with us next year. And I can't wait for you to get there, right? I have all the hugs and all the happy tears waiting for you next year when you come back. So
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback Series by Fitz Koehler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and The Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit fitzness.com today. That's FITZNESS.com. Fitzness.com.
So yeah, it was a wonderful morning. The kids race, well, it's not even a kids race, it's a Donna Dash. It's a 1 mile. So wherever you are in your fitness journey, if you just want to come out and do 1 mile, that's a Donna Dash. You can be a part of our event. And boy, do we have a lot of fun. And this time I took the focus, put them on the daddies. We had a lot of daddies out there running with their kids, and nothing better than a daddy dance party. So some of our daddies were a little hesitant to participate, but then they eventually broke it down and it was magnificent. So thanks to all the daddies. Now, I got to tell you, my voice, listen to me. I talk all the freaking time. I find it very cute that I will leave a marathon weekend after doing all the work that I do. And you know that I'm at high volume. I'm never shouting. I'm never screaming because I have the power of the microphone. But I talk nonstop and I talk in a very big way. And it's very cute to me how someone was like, I lost my voice today. And maybe they spoke a billionth of the words, but it's very cute. And I understand that this is my job and that's why my voice is much more capable, or my vocal cords. But damn it, did that cold weather steal my vocal quality very quickly. Normally, it's the end of a marathon weekend where I start getting scratchy. Nope. 5K, I walked out of there a little hoarse, and I thought, well, this is weird. And I didn't even attribute it to the cold weather. I hadn't figured that out yet. I just thought, why are you being so lame, little voice of mine? So went back to the hotel and went straight out to a book signing, which was great. Again, met some wonderful people. And then I had to run back into my hotel room. Now, this is, again, BTS, behind the scenes. I was double booked for the weekend. So I thought the Donna was the following weekend. I put it in my calendar as February 7th and 8th, but it wasn't. It was the 31st and the 1st. And so Walter from Butterfly Effect Fitness Studio, he has a massive retreat out in Arizona, Flagstaff. And so he hired me to come out there. And I was like, yes, I'll do that. And then maybe a month or so ago, I realized, oh, shit, they're the same weekend. And so I called Walter and said, I'm so sorry, I can't come, but I can do it remotely. And he said, yep, no problem, no big deal. And I think I saved him my airfare. So that was nice. And I went back to my room and we did the keynote. I did my presentation from my hotel room. And funny, I put on makeup. I try to look nice. I already was trying to look nice that day, but I set up my computer. And then right before we go live, I look behind me and I see that my luggage is on my bed. I'm like, damn it, that doesn't look good. So I tried to take my big old luggage, put it to the other bed because they gave me queens. And the luggage freaking exploded as if there was a bomb inside. It didn't look like it got tipped over, knocked to the floor. It looked like kapow. Someone set off some TNT out of my bag and whoo, underwears and bras and socks and like tights, everything all over the place. So my room, as my mom used to say, looked like a bomb hit it. Holy smokes. I have no idea how that happened. But anyway, clear off the bed because you got to look, like you care, and which I do. And so I set up my little keynote station at the desk, it worked out pretty well. And then Walter piped me in via StreamYard, which is the recording software I actually use for my podcast. But there's his guests are in this big room and they're so cute. And I honestly, I wouldn't have rather been anywhere at the Donna Marathon, but I also wish I could teleport straight to Arizona because I wanted to hug them. I like to get to know everybody, right? I want to meet everybody. And so it did pain me that I couldn't be in the same room with them. But listen, Walter sent me a little packet in advance of the other speakers, bios that included mine. And then thankfully he put in bios of all the women. So the night before I had done my research and learned about them. I wanted to know where they're from, what they do, what they like, what they're passionate about. And so throughout my keynote, whenever I was talking about nutrition or goal setting or whatever, I started saying, well, so-and-so liked horseback riding and so-and-so loves, and you could see the looks on their face like, what? How does she know that? And it was just really fun. It wasn't the hug I wanted to give them, but I wanted them to know how much I cared about them and how important they were to me. And then, of course, as a keynote speaker, you want to customize your presentation to your audience. And so I think I did that. I hope they feel like I did. But one of the things I wanted to point out is we had some technical difficulties. So what I didn't realize is they were broadcasting me, I think, twice on two different screens. And so when I started speaking, I started getting feedback and echo. I would speak and then a quarter second later, my voice would pop back. And so at first I paused and I said, Walter, I'm getting an echo. And he made some adjustments. I thought it worked, but it did not. I was still getting the echo bouncing back at me. And I I just wanted to keep going. So I decided to plow through. It is very disorienting. I don't know how many of you are following the Grammys, but that weekend they had their new artist category, which I think had 7 different artists perform live back to back to back. And one of the performers, what's his name? Alex Warren. He sings the song Ordinary. It's it's a big song. I don't know how to say it, but there's an orchestra. It's a good song. He's got a lovely voice. Anyways, he was having problems with his IFB, his earbud, when he came out. Can you imagine being a young singer, getting your chance to perform at the Grammys live on the main stage in front of whoever's there, and then you're getting this echo? So you can see him come out on the stage and start messing with his mic pack. Then he's messing with his earbud, and he's trying to continue on because there's no backing out. He pulls his earpiece out at some point, and then he's singing about a second behind the rest of everybody. Finally puts the earpiece back in, and he's on this little stage. They lift him up into the sky. And so after the fact, he got on Instagram and he played back what he heard, this echoing sound. And I couldn't relate to that anymore. It's exhausting. The first time I ever had serious feedback or echoing, I was invited just to announce some sort of championship match. I think it was soccer at the stadium. It was high school state championship game or something. They said, could you come and, do the pregame hoopla and so forth? I said, sure, no problem. And I go into that booth. Oh, and the booth is concrete and the stadium's concrete. And I started speaking and the echoes. It was my voice back at me multiple times. It at first just kind of knocked me back. I had to regroup. It might have taken 5-10 seconds for me to pause. And then what you have to do at that point, because there's no saving it, you can't undo the echo, is you only focus on the words you have to say and tune out your own voice, tune out all the other sounds. It's a very interesting predicament to be in, and you really have to work on it. You have to be so laser focused. I really feel like I did go dumb for 5 to 10 seconds where there was nothing in my brain. Thankfully, I was able to get my stuff together and do the work that I was asked to do, but very jarring. I also, working in the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium, where our start and finish line was in the stadium, I'd get a crazy echo there too. And so can you imagine you're speaking and your voice is just pounding back at you? You've got thousands of people lined up. And it's just, and it was also on the Jumbotron. There's my face talking and a lot of drama inside my head. No, I've always been able to pull it off, but it's hard. It is really hard. In fact, one of the saddest things I've seen is Denise Street, one of our ambassadors, Donna D Squad ambassador. She sings the anthem. She sings it beautifully. That year in the stadium with the major echo for me, she also got a major echo, but she was singing the anthem. I thought she did a great job. I knew what was going on. I don't know if anybody else knew what was going on, but I was looking at her willing, thinking, oh my God, please keep it together. Not for anybody else other than I wanted that for her. I wanted her to have that success. And when she was done, she just had this devastated look on her face. Like that was the worst. And she sulked off. And I told her later, I said, Denise, you did great. She goes, no, I didn't. But she did. So watching this Alex Warren guy, seeing him struggle through it, I have mad respect for him. If you've not seen it, go to YouTube and look up Alex Warren singing Ordinary at the Grammys. It's crazy. But anyway, so now I'm going to go back to my hotel room and the echo I was getting. And I plowed through maybe 5 minutes. And thankfully, at some point, Walter said, hold on. And then I don't know why. I think he was having some sort of feedback. He hit mute. And that saved the day. Once he muted me, once he muted them, I wasn't getting the echo. So anyways, that was magical. But it's so nice to be in the middle of the Donna doing all that stuff and then take a little pause and do a keynote for a bunch of cool chicks in Arizona, which was awesome. And then directly after that, throw on my new dress to go host a fancy dinner. So we have the regular old VIP on Friday night. And then on Saturday, there's a fundraising dinner. And so, I enjoy being a girl. It's nice to put on a dress sometimes. This is a dinner specifically for all the individuals who raised at least $1,000 or more for the Donna Foundation. And then the corporate partners who, I mean, they brought in 20 something thousand. We had Love's Car Wash, Darren Skarecki. He was awesome. And then Bonnie with the Predator Group. It's a billiards company in Jacksonville, but just nice to have these companies that have this mission and say, we're going to raise money at our facilities. And anyways, wonderful people. And then we had, I think, a couple dozen individuals who raised at least $1,000 or more during the party. I have to tell you, I was given a list and one of the names was missing. And then one of them I skipped over. So Babs, I'm so sorry I forgot to say your name at the party. I know you don't care, but still thank you, Babs, for your efforts and your fundraising. Incredible. And then Robin Robson, her name was off the list. I don't know why, but I didn't say it and I know her feelings were hurt. So sorry, Robin. I would do anything to go back and say your name, but I can't, human error is involved and it's certainly not a lack of appreciation. So I'm going to tell you that on my way in, I'm wearing a mini dress and strappy heels. I tell you that because, again, it's getting colder. It's actually one of those days where you wake up and it's cold, and then in the afternoon it's colder, and then by the nighttime it's freaking frigid. That's what we were dealing with. I think it was in the 20s on Saturday night, and the fundraising party was on the beach. No, it was indoors, but you had to park in a parking lot and then run about 100 yards to get into the place. And so I got out of my Jeep. It wasn't my Jeep rental car, but I got out of my car and the winds were blowing crazy. One of the barricades was sliding across the road. It was crazy cold. I heard there were 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So I'm sprinting in there on my heels. I'm a pretty good runner on my heels. I could probably win high heel running competition faster than I could win a regular one because I'm a very mediocre runner in running shoes. But you put me in heels, I'm probably maybe the fastest, especially if it's cold. But anyways, I get in there and it's, we're all breathing hard. There's a couple of us and we're just frozen to death. And Amanda's husband comes over and he goes, "It's snow flurrying outside." I didn't even see the flurries because I was running so fast. I was tortured by the wind. And then I realized, damn it, I have left my script in the car. That's right. I have notes that I need and I've left them in the car. So your very stupid fitness pro race announcer gal, she had to go back out and oh my, so bad. And it's just torture me. It reminded me of the cryotherapy I did in Los Angeles the week prior, at least, especially because I wasn't wearing much. It was just a mini dress and heels. And I had a jacket, but the jacket wasn't a warm jacket. It was just a fancy jacket I don't know. Anyways, bad and stupid, but I had to make another lap and then come in and try to recover from that, which I did. But the party was beautiful, well decorated, and everyone was happy. And I enjoy hosting that stuff. It's just nice to connect with people. I love the microphone. I love hosting any sort of event. And that was a fun one. We had Amanda, Donna Deegan spoke. Edith Perez was supposed to speak, the doctor, but she had to go. Joni spoke. And there became this little, I didn't tell you what happened to Joan. Oh my gosh. So during the 5K, I see Joan coming towards the finish line. She's running with Donna's husband, Tim Deegan, who's wonderful. He's a former weatherman in Jacksonville. Everybody loves Tim. So I see them and I start running out. I run a lot of people through the finish line. I wasn't going to do this, but I did want to greet them there. So I get to the finish line. Tim is running towards me. He's on the left and Joni's on the right. I'm on Tim's side. So in Joni's mind, she wants to be polite, let him beat her, because how cool to beat the Olympian, right? The gold medalist. So he keeps running. She tries to take a step back, but it's a storm grate. And so she trips. I see her trip. And I so desperately wanted to catch her. Now, mind you, I catch dozens of people before they hit the ground at races throughout the year. I am a really good people catcher, but Tim was in my way. To no fault of his own, he stops running. Now he's standing there. I'm like, trying to lunge towards Joni. I can't catch her. She hits the ground again. Devastation. Oh no. Legendary, iconic, all the things. Sweet potato friend, sweet woman. She has fallen. And I mean, I'm there. I grab Joni. It's okay. It's like a scene out of Grey's Anatomy, right? It's very dramatic, maybe. I can't remember, but thankfully other folks come in. Andy Sharp, our medical director with the Mayo, she's an ER doc. She comes. Joni is gathered up and they walk her away. And there's video of this. And thankfully Joni's got a great sense of humor about it. She's all giggling about it. I watched it, made me kind of giggle too. But you can see she's getting carted off. I'm walking away. I've got my hands on my head. God, just torture. It was so bad. Oh my God, it was so bad. But thankfully, she's mostly okay. Her hands were bruised up and she had a couple cuts, and thankfully she was well taken care of. But whew, heart attack. So going back to the fundraising dinner, Donna gets up and she's like, yeah, it was Tim's fault. Tim pushed her down type thing. So now it becomes a running theme throughout the end, on top of we love money cheers, which I thought was important that we would all cheer for the money being raised, because the Donna Foundation has raised over $3.3 million, which hooray for money, right? So we did a lot of cheering for money, but then it became the big trend that Tim Deegan purposely pushed down Joni and blah, blah, blah. But it was a fantastic evening. And then getting back to the car, again, torture, because you had to run the same 100 yards to get back to the car. And now it was even colder, even windier. There was stuff blowing down all over the place. We had this, I don't even know what it was. There was some sort of wall situation behind the window we were standing up against as we were chatting. Amanda was on the microphone, and this whole wall thing fell down. So windy, very windy, made it back to my car. Grateful to do it. Nothing like a car with seat heaters. Blessed are the seat heaters. And then I made it back to the Mayo Hilton, and I tried to get out and run into the Hilton, and the wind was so strong, it was kind of knocking me back. I was kind of running and standing still for a little bit, which felt pretty weak. Yeah, felt pretty weak. It was bad. It was so bad. And so then you're going in there thinking, oh crap, because it's going to get even colder by 4 or 5 a.m., whatever it is, I have to be out there. And it's going to be punishing. Just the dread we all had from the punishment. Now, again, so much easier than cancer, trying to pump it up, because the reality is the best running stories come from the crazy weather days, whether it was big storms or, I don't know, floods or even the heat. They come with crazy, crazy stories that everybody wants to tell. And so, yeah, I went to bed that night. And it's interesting. One of the things I do the night before a race, and just little, again, BTS behind the scenes, is I have a notebook. Quite often I'm given notes by my race organizations. They come in bullet form. So I don't do any reading. I never say, hello, nice to have you at this race. They just, here's our sponsors. This is the time structure. There's a bunch of, this is where our water stops are. So information that I can put into my own summary to share with people. But I try to keep notes of all my friends who are there over race weekend. And so I make these lists of, who's here. It's Melissa O'Neill, and it's Mary and Jason Rosenberg and Karen Rowe and so forth. So if I have time pre-race, I can give shout outs. I can say, oh, my friends are here from this group or that group, or this person's here. So that's a lot of what I do. I take time, and, sometimes my notes are all over the place. With the book signing, I certainly kept random notes for the people who came and bought books. And then I had alarms set. If you tell me you're going to run my race 2 weeks from now, I will set an alarm for the night before at 8 p.m. And then I can check back and say, oh, Joe Blow is running. Let me put him in the half marathon list. So that's a little work that needs to be done. But got all that done, got up. The next morning, what did I wear? So this was the decision. What do you wear? You got to wear everything, right? Especially when your luggage has exploded all over your room and you have access to it all. But I wore these fleece leggings, fleece on the inside, so they look like leggings, but they're a little warmer, which was nice. And I wanted to wear my dumpy sweatpants, but I got to tell you, I got a little ego involved. And I thought, oh, those are too frumpy. I don't want to be on a stage in front of everyone looking frumpy. So I did not wear the sweatpants. I wore kind of windbreaker pants, which was a bad decision. And then I had, I think, 2 long sleeve shirts like I'm wearing right now with the thumbs, and then a vest, and then a fleece hoodie, and then a winter jacket. So I had a bunch of layers. I probably had 8 to 10 hot hands shoved in all the places. I had, did I have wool socks? No, I had leg warmers, multiple pairs of leg warmers. And then everyone got this, what are they called? Like hidden heads or shoot, I wish I could remember. But these balaclavas, I think they're called. It's a head thing that also has a thing that covers your nose and mouth. I obviously can't have my nose and mouth covered because I'm on the microphone, but in the moments between my car and the microphone, I could wear that. But yeah, bundled up. It still wasn't good enough. Still bitter cold. I bought gloves. I bought $60 North Face gloves. My fingertips were still freezing. And then thankfully, Andy Sharp, who I just bragged about, our Mayo Clinic ER physician, she gave me her ski pants at one point. She was going to run. So I got ski pants. There was a lot of people running in ski pants. In fact, there was a lot of people wearing everything. I did guide everybody to wear everything they owned, and they did. And so at a race where I'm trying to be friendly and recognize people and say, ooh, there's so-and-so, and I love her and I love him. I had no idea who anybody was. Seriously, everybody was so bundled up that I could recognize almost nobody. It was like a group of, you know, Eskimo strangers, right? Oh, they were wearing garbage bags, and then everybody was kind of cuddled around. We had those heaters, the kind of, I think they're gas-powered heaters that you might find at a restaurant or a bar. It was crazy. It was crazy. But people were so happy. And I had a lot of fun at the expense of our cold temperatures, and a lot of jokes were being made because we were all very cold. And the spirits were good. That's the beauty of the running community is they come up and they're gamers. If they're going to show up, they're going to have fun. And I do think a lot of strangers had hugs and held hands that didn't even know each other, but it was wonderful. And the Jacksonville Jaguars brought out their Prowler stage, which we put in the middle of the Finish Line Festival so I could be there to do some announcing and work from the center. It was well orchestrated. It always is well orchestrated. This year it felt a little more so. And we always do survivor picks, pre-race, streaker picks. Streaker picks are legacy athletes who have run every single race since the start. And there's a whole bunch of those. Trying to think, what am I? Oh, I did show up with a scratchy voice. Again, I thought I was just being wimpy. I hadn't really grasped the fact that it was the cold temperatures affecting my voice. So I started off like a low register. So I had a little concern how that might play out for the rest of the day. But yeah, it's one thing to end a day hoarse. It's another thing to begin the day hoarse. I was able to make it work. Spoiler alert. But yeah, it was rough stuff at the get-go. But yeah, so I line everybody up. We're starting, I think, at 7 or something. Let's just say 7, the clock start line. And we get all the runners line up, the full and half marathoners. They're joined together. And I've just asked some fast people up in front, middle pace in the middle, slower folks in the back. And I have a scissor lift. And so the scissor lift elevates me right over the start of the athletes. And who came on it? That was Amanda. And then her daughter, Ella, who's a hoot. She's so cute. And then Dr. Edith Perez were on the lift with me. I think last year I had Donna, Deegan, and Edith, and Joan. Anyways, it's a mix and match, whoever comes up, right? But our crowds were wild. I mean, imagine being invigorated, energized by the cold temps, and then you have a sassy announcer who's boosting you up and the big music and such a fun crowd. I mean, it was off the hook. I love an energized start line. This one was bananas. It was just so crazy, which of course I feed into it. If I get big energy and you give it back to me, things are going to get real fast. And they did. It was jumping and high-fiving and oh, so good. So I whip them into a frenzy and I yell go, and they start coming by, and it's the whoopee parade, right? They're shouting things. And Saturday, there was a person who came by and they're wearing a shirt. And I think the shirt says something like tough titties or wherever. I keep it clean on a microphone. I'm a public address announcer. There are children, there are old people, there's everybody. I try to stay very G-rated. But I look at the shirt and I go, tough. And then I bit my lip, and Donna, she looks at me, she goes, oh, just say it. So I got the thumbs up. So I went, the tough titties, whatever. So that was very funny. And then on that morning, golly, we had all the different types of people and they were all coming by for high fives. So I thought at one point I might topple out of the scissor lift. I was leaning so far down to high five folks, but it's just, you feel like we're best friends. That's just what I feel when I've got 8,000 people running by me and they're so happy. I feel like they are each my best friend. And it's probably cheesy and nerdy to say it. I just am so excited. The comfort you feel sitting at your kitchen table, talking with your neighbor, that's how I feel with all of these people. It's just, it's the best ever. I never want it to end. Please give me 42 million more people. Line everybody up on earth at a start line for me so I could greet them all and celebrate them all and tell them all I love them and have a great race, right? So they're all coming by. And towards the end, I mean, it becomes a blur at some point, but someone throws me a little bottle of Fireball. So it turns out it's Chris Hobson who did that. Thanks again, Chris. But yeah, so the Fireball comes from me and I was like, haha, thanks. And I put it on the little table behind me in the lift. And so they finally trail off. There's no more half or full marathoners. Even the stragglers, the slackers have gone. Next up is an event called the Pete's Bar Crawl. That's 2 miles. So it's 500 people that are going to line up at the start and they're just going to mosey. They're going to walk until they get to Pete's Bar and then they're going to stop there and they're going to have cocktails and they're going to be the finish line celebration for all of our athletes. They're going to be on the balconies in the front yard drinking and making lots of happy noise for people crossing the finish line. So they're wild to begin with. Just so you know, these 500 people are ready to go and they're rowdy. They've seen the full and half marathon people have fun and they're ready for their turn. So they're lined up and I'm just being silly with them or whatever. And then I asked them, I said, who is going straight to Pete, is going to have a cocktail right when you get to Pete's? And almost all the hands went up. And so I just was like, you know what? Here we go. I turn around, I grab that bottle of Fireball and I said something to the effect of, well, I feel obligated to help you kick it off. So at first I try to open it. My hands are frozen. I can't get it open. I put the bottle top in my mouth, twist. I finally get the bottle top off and I take a big shot. And everybody lost their mind. It was so fun. And I'm pretty confident I have not done shots on a stage at a race before. So first time for everything, right? And then I gave the rest of the bottle to Amanda. I was like, your turn. She shot the rest. And then someone gave Dr. Perez her own bottle of Fireball too. And she was cute. She pretended to drink hers. She did not drink it all the way, but just a really fun, engaging start to the morning. You know, it was awesome. Awesome. If I could wake up every single morning of my life and be on that scissor lift with those people or people just like them, I would do it. It was massively fun. So finally they head out and we had the option to go in this surfer bar where we were having a VIP gathering, sits right over the finish line and hide. And I would say there was about 10 of us, mostly women, just hiding in there, hiding from the cold, trying to just prepare for the chaos that was coming our way. And it was nice. It's nice to just chill out and hold hands and chit chat. And then it was time, right? Then the finish line was going to happen. And for me, I had a great idea this year. Actually, I've had a great idea a few years, but I've never asked for it. I don't, if you've gone to a race, you'll often see an announcer sitting in a booth, sitting in a chair with a table and a tent. And good for those guys. It's really not the way I do things. I'm just engaged. I roam around. I like to be with the athletes. I stay off the course while our fastest athletes are coming through. But at any race, once the middle or the back of the pack, once the fun people start arriving, I'm happy to go down and escort them through the finish line or high five or whatever. Not that it means the world to anybody else, but I like to do it. And it's I don't know. That's who I am, right? So having having my computer over there just doesn't work. The computer is a tool that gives me names for the athletes. About 25 yards before they hit the finish line, I'll get their name, age, hometown, which race they're running. So this year I finally just said, could I get a cocktail table right after the finish line, put my stuff on, just a little circle table, high top. And they did. And it was magnificent. So I didn't have to run back and forth. I didn't have to hunch over to try to get to a computer that was on the ground. It was perfect. And it made my life a lot better. The athletes came through and it was just as awesome as it always is. Fun, fun, fun. A great resource for me is our volunteers. We had volunteers from Sigma New Jacksonville who are always, they're my backup singers at the finish line. They come and they They're rowdy. Imagine frat guy energy at a finish line. And what's really cute is I don't think many of them have run a marathon or whatever, but they so respect what we're doing. And that's what matters. They're invested in our athletes. They care about our athletes. I don't know why they know. I don't know how they understand, but they do. And when they cheer for you, it's because they mean it, right? They really are proud of you and happy for you, and they want to give you all that love. And it comes with this testosterone, young testosterone craziness because they're together. It's spectacular. I love them. If I could be an honorary brother to JU Sigma Nu or one of their sweethearts, like their Aunt Fitz or whatever, I'd be happy to do it. But golly, I love them. Then we had AKO, we had Zeta, we had nursing students, we had ROTC students, and they they become a very meaningful part of our finish line experience at the Donna. And Amanda gives me the flexibility to start shuttling people. There's Julio's in charge of the volunteers. I get that. I respect that. But I I can say, okay, Sigma Nu, you guys come over here, and Julio doesn't get mad at me. She called me like the orchestrator of joy or something like that, which I appreciate because I can make it more fun if you give me the tools, right? And at this point, the tools were these humans. They were a blast. They made all of our athletes feel like superstars, so loved. We had great groups out there. We had Black Girls Run, the Boston Buddies. Vince, who got me into running the Boston Marathon, he brought in a whole bunch of athletes from around America to run the Donna, and the buddies are phenomenal. We had the Gainesville Fire Rescue guys. I met one firefighter 2 weeks ago at the dog park. He told me he was running the marathon, and I was like, I'm announcing that. He goes, well, we're kind of doing it on a dare. The farthest they had gone before the marathon was 8 miles. I had no doubt they crossed the finish line because there's so much testosterone and machismo coming out of those men that they were definitely going to do it come hell or high water. And they did. They did it. They did it under 5 hours, which kudos to those guys for just being so darn fit to begin with. But they were a lot of fun. And it's just, exciting to see them do that. We had this big group Team Friendship. Just so you know, you should try to be friends with Team Friendship. Maybe look them up online. They were awesome. And then, of course, Team Neptune Beach. There was hundreds of them. And then we had Survivor after Survivor after Survivor. And it was just so good, right? I chased them all over the place. And I think a few catch by me, which I dislike. But it's really fun. And I love hearing the women who say things like, I am 27 years cancer-free. Because when they do that, it shows that it is possible for the rest of us. So just triumph, excitement, energy. People kept bringing all sorts of lost things. There was earbuds, there was gloves, there was IDs, there was hot hands everywhere. Everywhere hot hands. Also, my wardrobe changed about 7 different times throughout the day. I'd get hot, I'd take off the winter jacket. Then I'd get hot and I'd take off the fleece. And then I'd put on my friend Bill, who's co-owner of the Icemen hockey team. He brought me a hockey sweater. So I put that on, and then I got hot and took that off. So anyways, I like the big wardrobe change. I'm sure nobody cared, but I did have a lot of fun outfits. What else? Oh. And so the few hours left, my voice became a real problem. It was at the lowest register it's ever been. You might have thought I was a dude. I don't know. It might have sounded like a dude, but I had to will each word to come out of my mouth. At that point, it was forceful from the gut, pushing words out. I was trying to limit, my random nonsense conversation just because the voice was bad. I had created a custom sing along playlist because this is the sing along group, so orchestrated that, and the others sang along. So I got to shut up for a while as our athletes were, as their visits to the finish line slow down. Right at the end, they trickle in, and so that gives us a lot of wiggle room for dancing and singing and nonsense and stuff. But holy smokes, I was cutting it close with the voice. In fact, I'm pretty sure that voice might not have lasted 2 more athletes by the time I left there, but it did. It lasted the whole time. I got to congratulate every last one of them. And we had quite a few men finish the ultra. We had quite a few drop out because, as you can imagine, that's a really difficult road to hoe. The only female who finished this year was very special, Heather Cohen. She's an adaptive athlete. She races in a chair. That's right, push rim. And so she was the only female to cross the finish line of the 110-mile ultra, and she happened to be in a chair. So kudos to her. She was running in honor of Aaron Petz, who passed away 6 weeks after the Donna last year. Aaron's husband, Mike, said he's going to come run the ultra next year, which I bet he will. So I'm excited to see him. But it was very meaningful to see Heather have so much success. She also became our adaptive marathon champion for the men or women because she was the only one. So I loved it. I loved it. It was just so good. Golly. Trying to think if there's anything else. Okay, so we get out of there, and it was late, 3-something. It was a very long time, but we stick around for the final athletes because that's what you do. They've been working out there the hardest, right? So finally, get in the car. I sat in my car. I went to McDonald's, and I got a Diet Coke because they have the best Diet Coke, and then I just sat in this car with the seat heaters for like 20 minutes, silent, just sat there to be warm and silent. It was awesome. I mean, just the magical experiences that nobody else cares about. I was like, so happy to be warm in the car with the seat heaters. But that night, we capped things off at Donna Deegan's house. She invites probably about 40 of us over. It's her ambassadors and her team and special guests. And it was wonderful. But I appreciated the fact that, of course, Babs drove me because Babs is the best. Babs is the best bestie that ever was. She took me to Donna's. And as soon as I walked in, people say, "How are you?" And I'd respond with almost no sound because the voice was officially gone. And then people would say, "Okay, you can shut up. I love you." And so most of the night I got to just sit there silently and listen to other people talk. And how relieving, how wonderful to just shut the F up and listen to other people. So it was a wonderful night, wonderful company. Food was catered and spent a lot of time with Babs, a lot of time with Joan and whoever else would walk by. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to just shut up sometimes. And I'm sure after people hearing my voice for 700 hours that weekend, they were all happy I had laryngitis. So it was great. It was wonderful. I'm so excited for year 20. I don't know what Amanda has up her sleeve, but I know for a fact it's going to be spectacular. Just the basic race weekend, spectacular. But holy smokes, 20 years, it's going to be big time. So I really encourage you to consider registering. Come out, do the 1 mile, do the 5K, do as many races as you can, because why not if you're there? But it's an extraordinary experience for everyone involved. And yeah, you should invest. You should come invest in your health, invest in the Donna Foundation, invest in a good time. All of that is pretty good stuff. When I got home, one would think, oh, she's done. She can have no voice. But I had a keynote on Tuesday or a presentation to make on Tuesday at UF and then the Donna live stream Tuesday night. So I'm going to give a big thank you to steroids. That's right. Steroids are my friend and they have saved me from failure quite a few times. So thank you, sailors. Thank you, steroids. I think that this episode is sponsored by steroids, not the kind that bodybuilders use, but the kind that reduce inflammation in your body and get those vocal cords working again. What's next? Next up is Gasparilla. If you want to register for that, you haven't done so already, do it immediately. Half the events are sold out. There's a few spots left though, and I will be there. And co-announcing with me for the very first time ever at this weekend will be the one and only Ginger Koehler. That's right. My first mate. She's going to be there and it's going to be fun times. Okay. So communication tip of the week coming right after my laryngitis is know when to shut up. Sometimes it's beautiful to shut up. Just shut your mouth and let other people talk. It could be great, grand. And then song of the show is Fireball. That's right. We're going with Fireball because we had a lot of fun with Fireball. Thank you for listening to the Donna Recap Part 2 behind the scenes with yours truly. Know that I finally did pack up my bags. I got all the appropriate things out of the Hilton and they are none the wiser as to what a mess I made in that room. I love you so much. Get to work. Bye, team. Mwah!
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children the chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Koehler, morning milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.